stacking them deep, selling them cheap.
It tastes like gasoline, rubber, and victory.
We're just out here stacking pennies.
How y'all doing? I know y'all are fired up for the 1989 Cup Series champ, winner of 55 Cup Series races. Welcome to Stacking Pennies, Rusty Wallace.
Thank you, everybody.
Man, it's a big crowd. Y'all making me nervous. Lot of LaJoy swag. You guys are coming out to support not only the fan experience, but the first Cup Series race at Iowa. What do y'all think about it? And when we were kicking around the idea of doing a live show here at Iowa, we've picked 4 or 5 tent pole events. And anytime we come to a new market, we want to bring the show on the road. And there's no better man to explain the nooks and crannies of Iowa Speedway than somebody who helped design the place. That's why we had to call Rusty up. We got a yard sale going on. But Rusty Wallace, first off, thank you for joining the show.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Take me back to the very beginning, right? When you get a phone call, somebody has an idea about building a racetrack in the middle of a cornfield. How'd that go?
Well, what happened was in 2004, Corey, I got a phone call out of the clear blue from a group of investors here in Iowa, and they said, hey, Rusty, we want to build a racetrack, and we want you to design it. And I said, me? Why do you want me to design it? So, well, at that particular time, I was winning a ton of short track races. Just finished winning Bristol, Richmond, Martinsville, all those wins. He said, we kind of want to build a short track, so we want you to do it. I said, okay. So off we went, and they said, we got this piece of property right between Highway 80 and next to the airport here, and it's a perfect location, we think, to build. So I came down and looked at it, immediately got excited about it. So where's the money at? Where are you going to find the money to build this? It's going to take a lot of money. Well, when it was all said and done, Mr. Brad Manat, who paves most of the highways here in Iowa, put up $75 million.
That's a lot of pennies, Rusty.
That's $75 million the Manat family did. And we took off, started designing it. We got a hold of a guy named Paxton Waters. Paxton did Irwindale Speedway. He did the California Speedway. He did the Pagoda at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We hired him to be our architect. And he said, what do you want, Rusty? I said, I want a 3/4-mile racetrack, multiple groove banking. I want it kind of shaped like Richmond, but there's a lot of things I don't like about Richmond, so let's clean them up. So
such as what?
Okay, I never did like driving down in turn 1 at Richmond, have to turn twice. You arc off the wall, and then when you get down to the center corner, you got to turn again. And then as you come off of turn 2, the racetrack flattens out, and you spin the rear tires and stuff. I said, I'm going to make one constant entry into turn 1. Then I really want to bank up turn 2 so I can really lay that right front tire against it and be able to pass good and carry a lot of speed off of turn 2. That's the reason turn 2 is so dramatic like it is at this particular racetrack because of that.
You almost drive up the banking.
Yeah, you're up and you're into banking all the time. So basically, we got the green flag to do it. We had the money. We took off. We got the track built. And our first race was in 2006. It was
Hooters Cup race.
Yeah, Hooters Cup race. It was a big deal for Juan Pablo Montoya. He was coming from IndyCar. That was his first race here in Iowa.
Was anybody here for that? Couple people. So 2006, I was talking to Joey Logano about it because he had won the first K&N East-West companion race in the next year.
So
he was telling me about the tire debacle.
So it turned out really, really good. In that very first race, I couldn't believe it, but my son Steven won the race. He ended up winning the race that day. But we had so many good supporters. The entire Clement family was behind us for so long. Conrad Clement, Stan Clement, who's no longer with us right now. The real stewards of the racetrack were here all the time building it. But here it is. We finally got a cup race. It took forever. Man.
Praise Jesus. Now, was this one of the signs you see when you go through the tunnel is Infield of Dreams? Was this a place kind of like, hey, there's nothing around for, I don't know, 40 miles, but if we build it, do we think that they're going to come?
Yeah, that's a great point you just said. If we build it, will they come? Well, guess what? We built it, and they flooded the place. The first race, completely sold out the very first race. And what was it? I heard that when they announced that we're getting a cup race, in like 45 minutes, they sold every single ticket to this place.
Kudos to y'all. Because we've got campers, we've got people coming in the infield. The energy is super high. Excited for this Xfinity Series race here at 2:30, but certainly excited for tomorrow because there are a lot of unknowns, Rusty. I'm sure you watched practice this week. We had 4 or 5 tire issues, a new tire, bringing here to Iowa. A lot of unknowns with the thicker gauge, similar tire we've had at Gateway, Phoenix, some others, but that compound does not seem to like that new asphalt here at Iowa. What do you think?
Well, I'm hoping that what's going to happen is that the track will really rubber in like it does a lot, and all that tire wear will calm down, and everything will get better. If not, you'll be pitting earlier and earlier, putting 4 tires on, and we've done that before on new pavement. You just might have to do that again. But generally...
You know what my strategy is going to be, Rusty?
No. What do you
hope that I'm just not the first one that blows the right front, that I can come back in and put 4 tires on.
Well... All you got to do, Corey, is know that when you go down into turn 1, the most important corner in the car is the right front, so be nice to it.
Yeah, and if it doesn't have air in it, it doesn't turn near as good as if it does. I know that.
That's right.
The 20 tore one up yesterday. The 2 tore one up yesterday. I think that our car is pretty close. We were 12th on average. Went out a little bit earlier than what I wanted to in qualifying, so a little bit loose. Treacherous on new tires here with that new asphalt. So we're rolling off 24th tomorrow. Excited about that. Have any of y'all seen the scheme that's on my car? I figured y'all be pumped up about that. I've got 1 thumbs down way in the back. You a State fan? You can root for Kyle Larson then. He's a good one to root for. He starts about 23 spots higher than I do tonight. But nonetheless, Gamebridge has been a great partner of ours, Aspire Motorsports. They did an NIL deal with Caitlin Clark, who y'all know very well out here. I'm going to have a little Easter egg for you guys tomorrow. I may or may not be wearing a Caitlin Clark jersey for driver intros. So if y'all would cheer for me as loud as y'all cheer for her, I'd really appreciate that. I need all the help I can get. So that's enough with the tire issues because I do think I agree with Rusty. The track's going to take some rubber. This weather's going to pass by. The Xfinity race is going to lay some rubber down. And we're going to have a hell of a show tomorrow night. But who's our all-too-soon pick for today, Rusty, in that Xfinity race and also tomorrow?
Oh, man, who would I pick for the day? I don't know. It's so doggone competitive. It's hard for me just to jump out there and say it's going to be this guy or that guy. I really can't do that, Corey. You're actually better than that than I am. Tomorrow, though, I'll tell you what, I got kind of a pick that people haven't been thinking about a lot. This particular track, there's one driver that was really, really good at this track in the Xfinity Series when we were running here, and that's Brad Keselowski. Brad's won a lot of races here at this particular racetrack. He's got a passion for this place, and he loves it. I would not be surprised to see Brad Keselowski in victory lane tomorrow.
Hot take from Rusty. That's not a hot take because RFK has been turning the tides. 1 and 2 finish at Darlington. They brought a lot of speed here. I believe, I don't know exactly where the 6 qualified, but it's in that top 10. And if you give Brad a sniff of the front, that old dog can still get up on the wheel and get after it. So it's gonna be wild. I think we're gonna see a lot of comers, a lot of goers.
And Corey, I honestly hope you get your first win tomorrow, buddy. I hope you can pull it off and get her done, you know?
I feel good about it. I have a trophy here from Iowa. I won the 2012 K&N Pro Series East and West combo race. So it's always good going to a racetrack where you know the route to victory lane. There's some places I've never been to, don't even know where victory lane's at. But this one, I know exactly where it's at. And I think we got a car that can be in the mix to get it there. So hopefully make the right adjustments overnight and we can get that Gamebridge Chevy in the wind. What about this, Rusty? So before we go to every inaugural race, right? We go a couple years ago, we go to Gateway. We go to L.A. for the first time, the Coliseum. Every time there's a first race, we do the street course. There's a class photo, right? You guys see this class photo yesterday? The one that I was the only kid in class looking the wrong direction.
And yeah, I gotta know. That's the big photo, man. That's the photo that's seen everywhere.
The hell was I looking at?
And I don't know what you're looking at.
Very intrigued, too, about what I was looking at. Did y'all notice that there was an absent? There was an absentee. I don't know. On my itinerary, it said it was mandatory. I guess Kyle Larson, he can get a waiver for the playoffs, and he can also get a waiver for the damn class photo too. Rusty, who was that guy back in the day that would always get a waiver?
Back in the day when I was driving in the short track series and stuff, the guy always got away with everything. There's two drivers. First of all, it seemed like Dick Trickle, my hero growing up.
Yes.
Trickle always got away with everything. And then in the Cup Series, the guy that seems like he always get away from everything was Earnhardt. Could always pull it off. But anyway, those are two guys, great drivers. No longer with us, miss them both, that's for sure.
I'm going to ask a long-winded, this could potentially be a very long-winded answer. But I'm always curious to the guys who knew Dale well. What would the sport look like potentially different had he still be alive, owning a race team, having an input on the direction of the sport?
Well, it probably wouldn't be as technical as it is right now. He is more of a seat-of-the-pants type of driver. Always built his own race cars, set a lot of his own cars up himself, had a lot to do with that. And, you know, right then, as we lost Dale, the instrumentation was coming up, simulation was coming on. That was something he didn't even understand, didn't want to understand. So, you know, I think probably technology would have been farther down the road if Dale was still around because, I mean, the fan base was unreal. Thousands and thousands of people. Every single time you went to Bristol, Tennessee, there was 158,000 people in the grandstands for every single race. Just a big, big deal. But I'll tell you what, NASCAR is back. We got big people. We got a lot of people here now. We got a lot of enthusiastic people. I mean, look at this crowd. It's fantastic right now. So, I mean, I really think the sport's back. I really do. I mean, it's cranked up right now.
Rusty, you talk about the evolution of the sport and how technical and how precise everything is with the simulation and adjustments and with the independent rear suspension. You guys were slinging hundreds of pounds of springs different in practice, right? You guys are changing front springs, pivots. We changed a right rear toe shim 0.010 of an inch yesterday. That was an adjustment that we did yesterday. And you can feel it. That's how freaking finicky these cars are nowadays. Right, wrong, or indifferent, but that's just the evolution of the sport. I love how hard it is. It's definitely changed the game. But how do you think overall, as a spectator now, not being an active competitor, does it pass the eye test? And what are a couple of things that you would change, or what are a couple of things that you like about the sport nowadays?
As far as passing the eye test, I mean, when I watch the races, I really love what I'm seeing. I like the competition. The thing I don't like that every time somebody bumps the wall, they break that toe link. It drives me crazy. I mean, some of the greatest drivers out there in the world make one little tiny mistake and just barely bump the wall, and that damn toe link breaks.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you're a fan that's brought your entire family to the track to see your favorite guy, something that minuscule fails, it drives you nuts. And so I hope that NASCAR can make that tougher. They can fix that thing, get it so that doesn't happen, because that's one thing that I personally just don't like watching.
You know what my dad, Randy LaJoy, has to say about bending toe links, don't you? Probably the same stuff you used to say to Steven. If you didn't hit anything, you wouldn't have to worry about bending damn toe links.
Yeah.
And I said, Pop, that's easier said than done, because I've watched you race. You forget that.
Yeah, you're going to hit it. You just got to hold up.
Did you ever have any run-ins with Big Ran back in the day? I know he was a Saturday guy more so than a Cup guy.
I never did. I never had any run-ins with him. He's always been one of my best buddies. We hang out a lot, you know. Yeah, he's always been a cool dude. I really never have had a run-in with your dad.
I hate that for you. There's on my screensaver on my laptop is a picture of the 1998 Coke 600. So my dad filled in for Ricky Craven. Ricky Craven got hurt. I forgot where the crash was, and Dad crashed Dale Earnhardt, and they were nose to nose up against the outside wall. And that's still my favorite picture of all time. And I'm never going to change my screensaver because of that. But forgot where I was going with that. Oh. You know, one of my favorite things of a racetrack at all, like there are so many great aspects of every short track, dirt track, asphalt track, from Daytona all the way to some dirt track, probably down the street in Knoxville, Iowa. One of my favorite things that always made me laugh is when they asked Darrell Waltrip to help build in Kentucky. And he literally designed the track shape as a D, and they made the garage area a W for DW. Why didn't you make it the shape like an R? Why didn't you make a road course with an R
and the garage like a W,
I tell you,
Rusty.
I'm glad you just said that because I forgot all about that, and you're right. Those garages were shaped like a W, weren't they?
Yeah.
D is the shape of the track, kind of like Daytona.
Yeah.
You know, smaller track.
Yeah.
But the garages, I never thought about that one. You know, Daryl, he's a real popular guy, and he wanted his name on everything, even to shape everything on everything. That was cool.
What sort of touches, like, you may or may not have designed the track, right, as your initials, but what are some touches that you can look at and be like, that is distinctly my idea here at Iowa?
I'd say just the suites, the way the suites are laid out. I love that design right there. That wasn't me. I will tell you, though, Corey, everything in here wasn't me. It was I. It was all of us. Everybody. There was no I in a team. It was all of us working on it. I mean, between Paxton Waters, between the Clement family, between a lot of ideas, and the money, man. You had to have the money, you know. That was a big, big deal to get this thing built. So everybody had the input, but I love the shape of the track. I honestly say the shape of this track, that's what I wanted. That's what I was able to get.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this, and tell me if you guys agree. Iowa Speedway is one of the best tracks in the country. Let's hear it. It really is, man, and I appreciate your input on the track, Rusty. It really, truly made this place awesome, and I'm glad the Cup Series are coming. We're going to shift gears. If any of you guys listen to the show, whether it's on SiriusXM or YouTube each and every week, we do a segment where it's called Penny for Your Thoughts Questions, and I believe Grace is somewhere in – we're doing some live questions this week. Normally use firemen via Instagram, but this week we are going to – preferably pick people wearing Corey LaJoy merch because everybody else is just inferior. So pick people wearing something with a 7 on it, please. Yes. Right there next to you, the guy's wearing a 7 shirt. What's he got? Well, just think of one right quick.
Yeah, Dad's still doing seats, right? Yeah, you guys are still doing seats.
Put him on the spot.
Rusty, have you ever raced on this track?
I didn't hear it.
I didn't hear the question.
We're on the other side of the speakers.
Have you ever raced on this track, Rusty?
Have I ever raced on this racetrack competitively? No, but I've got a lot of laps around this racetrack not competitively. You know, with all kind of different cars. Yeah, so I've many laps here. A lot with the racing experience cars I've run around this racetrack in.
Ooh, hold on, pause. Find the next person to ask a question, but I have a great one. So, when a guest joins the show, Rusty, we ask 3 questions. The first one's this. If you had to pick one car and one racetrack to race at the rest of your life, what do you race? And where do you do it?
Oh, man, if I had to pick one car, it would probably be Bristol. Or now, you know what? Okay, I got to say Bristol because I won the most races there. I won 9 races there, so that's a good track for me. It'd probably have to be Bristol. And it'd have to probably be in that Ford Taurus that I won so many races in at that racetrack. And that car right now is on display up in one of our car dealerships in East Tennessee. But Midnight, my favorite painted car, the black and yellow car. You guys remember that car?
Oh, yeah. Do we ever?
Midnight right now is on permanent display at the Daytona International Speedway in the museum, representing stock cars. You ought to see it. It's been completely rebuilt. Last year, we took it out of the museum, took it to St. Louis, and paced the start of the race with Midnight, which was a beautiful car, which was my most famous car for me.
All right, Rusty, question number 2. What's the most embarrassed you've ever been at the racetrack?
Most embarrassed I've ever been when I was racing back in Springfield, Missouri on the short tracks. I won the race. I was coming down the straightaway. I had my left knee holding the steering wheel straight. My hand was out the window waving at everybody. I'm looking at the grandstands waving because I just won everything. And when I look back down, I hit the wall head on.
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty embarrassing.
That was embarrassing. I had to work all night long to get the car fixed so I could run the very next day in Fort Smith, Arkansas.
Dang. Those were when men were men, you know? I just show up and drive in circles. But back in the day, they had to fix them. Rusty, question number 3. If you had to lose, if I had like the Men in Black pen where I zap all your memory and you had to keep one and only one racing memory, what would that be?
Oh, racing memory. Well, It's got to be my very first win at Bristol when I left the ASA series and I went from my NASCAR dream, got this big break driving for Gatorade, then got hired by the Blue Max team the following year, kept falling on my ass everywhere I went. Everything was just going all to hell, wasn't good. And I said, man, if I'm ever going to pull a victory off, it's going to be at Bristol. And why is that? Because I love the Winchester, Indiana track up in Indiana. I won that race, and it's almost identical as Bristol. And I end up going to Bristol and winning my first race at a track where it made sense. And I'll never forget that win, my first inaugural win in NASCAR.
How much of a relief was that? Like, why is that the moment?
It was a relief because I kept questioning myself whether I could really do this. It seemed like this is harder than I thought. I left the American Speed Association, me, Mark Martin, Alan Quickie, all these guys, a champion. And then I come into cup racing, and it's 10 times harder than I ever thought. And it was just, I said, man, I don't know if I can make it. And then I won. And I'm like, I think I'm in the club now.
And
I
then
think
you
I
kept
made
winning 54 more times after that.
That's right. That's what happened. Ended up winning 55 of them when it was all said and done. Probably the highlight of my career, though, Corey, had to be when they inducted me in the Hall of Fame. That was a big deal.
Yeah. Is that it? Give the Hall of Fame a round of applause. Yes. That blue jacket's pretty special. Pretty special. We'll get to a couple more fan questions. What do we got?
Congratulations on the new baby.
Thank you. Yeah, we had our third this week. Appreciate that. Last week. Any question? Just a comment. Appreciate that. Thank you for the support, by the way. Why you have an SVG shirt upside down?
Southern Hemisphere shirt.
That's pretty creative.
I couldn't figure out his name either.
That's somebody get a picture of that. That's definitely going on the Instagram page.
Made it this morning too.
That's pretty creative. Pretty creative. Do you have a question? Give me a good one.
Yeah. How many pennies you got stacked to get those 3 boys in cars someday?
A lot, bro. A lot. I've got a proposal into Rusty Wallace Ford in East Tennessee, seeing if he's going to sponsor my kiddos one day. Maybe it'll cross your desk, Rusty. Help a brother out. I'm stacking pennies.
I'll see you come across the desk and see what happens.
All right, keep a look for it. I got a couple more years yet, but you know the cost of racing and is so exponential. But nonetheless, I know what it did for my life and my family's life. And if he wants to do it, man, Levi's got he's got great spatial awareness. Doesn't get it from mom, and I think I might get him in a go-kart here. So we'll see. We'll take one more question, then we'll wrap here. Anybody? Yes. How about the guy with the best sign in the damn house that says, put a starter on a sprint car? Jesus. It's 2024. Just put a starter on him. How hard is it?
First off, you got to give Ryan some crap for not being here.
Yeah.
What is your guys' first racing memory?
What's my first racing memory? So I'll give you, this is exactly opposite of what you're at. I'll give you 2. I'll give you my first driving memory. It was at the road course inside of Charlotte, right? Remember that, Rusty, in the middle of 3 and 4, the little go-kart track, and they had this little oval. I was probably 5, and it was one other 5-year-old there, mano y mano. And I'm sure my dad hogged that purple plate out bigger than anything else, and it won the race. And I got a trophy, and that created the monster from there. But my first ever racetrack really memory that sticks with me is I was probably 6 at Darlington, and I always go back to this particular spot in the garage. Remember when the Cup garage was on the back stretch? They flipped garages.
Yeah, I remember that.
10, 12 years ago. I go back to this spot in the Xfinity garage, or Busch Series garage back then, after the race, and all the cars are sandblasted, and they all got the sides ripped off, and just the smells of the rubber that you just can't even replace. They don't make a Yankee Candle for post-Darlington scent, you know what I mean? And I was probably 6 or 7 at that moment. I was like, man, I'm bit by the bug, and that's what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. So those were my first and early racing memories. So, man, I appreciate you guys so much. Let's hear it for Rusty Wallace again, guys. Yes. Any parting words, Rusty, for the fans to come out this weekend?
I just hope you guys enjoy this race as much as I am. I mean, we tried to get a cup race, and by God, we finally got it. And I'm sure these guys are going to put a hell of a race on tomorrow. Let's hope the weather stays good. I think it will be. But it's going to be sold out. Get out here early. Let's have some fun tomorrow and today.
That's right. That's right. We got the Xfinity race popping off here at 2:30. Make sure you guys go. SVG's been a consistent guest on Stacking Pennies as well. Absolute dog. So cheer for him. It's going to be a great day. And the reason why the Cup Series is here and because, you know, the fan experience and all this stuff is coming on the road is because you guys have asked for it and you guys have continued to support it and you guys have sold this place out in 45 minutes. So it's because of you guys supporting NASCAR is why we're here. Let's make sure it stays here on the schedule. How about that? All right, guys. Hey, tune in to Stacking Pennies each and every week. We're on YouTube. We're on SiriusXM Channel 90 on Wednesdays or on Tuesdays, rather. Just go find us. We talk crap every week. We have some great guests on. Rusty, thank you again. Thank you for the fans who are showing up this afternoon.
Thank you, guys. Thanks a lot.